Bueno, acabamos de las presentaciones y tal, y ya comenzamos. We have here three guest countries and three guest US advisors. From Denmark, Helena Nielsen. From Estonia, Janus Valdmar. And from Finland, Tomi Puranen. All three of them are going to speak to us about the situation of the labor market in the sector of IT and engineering. All right, they are going to speak about the job opportunities in there and the shortages that they have and the kind of profiles they need in this sector. Estonia has prepared, Janus has prepared a nice presentation for us to be shown right now. So I don't know if later on you want to make some comments or everything is contained in the presentation.
It's a continuous presentation.
It's a continuous presentation, so relax and show your presentation. Yes. Estonia next.
Hello everybody again. Just a short, brief overview of Estonian's IT sectors, how it has developed, what sort of job vacancies are there, and what might be the opportunities for Spanish job seekers as well. And to start off, I thought maybe a short video clip of where Estonia started and where it is right now, as well as where we are going, might help you to get an idea of how the IT sector is working. So, like said, just relax and...
Imagine starting a new country completely from scratch, freed from any pre-existing economic system, tax laws, or formal government. A bankrupt country with its future and direction completely in the hands of its people. That's the story of Estonia. It was 1991.
Can we put it up a bit? Put up the volume? No, that's full. Yeah.
Okay.
Just a quick second.
Técnico, no? Technical problems in the technological sector.
That's the most paradoxal thing. Okay. Let's...
Soviet Union had collapsed, and Estonia had just regained its independence.
It's like kind of
Imagine starting a new country completely from scratch, freed from any pre-existing economic system, tax laws, or formal government. A bankrupt country with its future and direction completely in the hands of its people. That's the story of Estonia. It was 1991. The Soviet Union had collapsed, and Estonia had just regained its independence. But with few resources and a small population, the country had to find a way forward. With the internet beginning to boom, leaders decided to invest in and build a new society. The first project was Tiger League, which put computers and the internet in got Estonians online fast. By the late 90s, all Estonian schools were online. In 2000, Estonia became the first country in the world to declare internet access as a basic human right. And today, Estonians are connected online through a mobile ID.
Using the ID card declaring, we can vote online in elections. We can declare our taxes. We can register businesses. We can do police have been activated. Everybody is free.
All of this personal data is protected by technology called blockchain, a decentralized network with countless channels that make it exceedingly difficult to hack. And as a backup, Estonia will create the world's first data embassy in Luxembourg, a storage facility to house an entire backup of Estonia's data capable of rebooting the country in case of a cyber attack. The result is a country that runs like a tech startup. Estonia teaches first graders how to code. It has the world's fastest broadband and holds the records for most startups per person. In 2003, a group of Estonian friends developed software for Skype, a video calling app. It was sold to Microsoft in 2011 for $8.5 billion, but instead of cashing out, the ex-Skypers reinvested in Estonia. They launched new startups and founded a venture capital fund with their wealth. Creating the future is Estonia's driving project, and increasingly it's global business too. With the introduction of e-residence, Estonia is hoping to invite entrepreneurs to invest in the country.
So each person Same thing is still in Germany. Using that card, you just establish a bank. Establish a bank account. And you can pay them with other solutions. And then you can remotely manage and balance the
So far, just 18,000 people have signed up, but some believe that with 10 million e-residents paying $100 a month each, Estonia would not even need to tax its citizens. It's certainly an ambitious goal. Only a place that started over from scratch could imagine reinventing the whole idea of a country as a place where people could feel at home as much online as where they actually live. We'll see if the rest of the world takes a page from their book.
So thank you, and I apologize for the technical issues as well. Maybe if you can get your hands on that short video, you will be able to watch it with sound as well. But the video was talking about was the Estonians e-Estonia and the IT sector that is briefly covered here with this slide as well. The sector itself is actually growing quite rapidly, growing by 2% with the last 3 years with the GDP. So right now it's covering already 7% of the Estonian GDP by itself. So you could say it's quite a big sector, and it is growing. It has 4% of the entire workforce, that is, and also 3,700 companies that are exporting their services to 130 countries. So you can see that Estonia and Tallinn, especially for that sake, is an IT hub that is providing services for the global market. And what sort of services those are? E-finance, of course, education, residency. Briefly in the video, the e-residence managing director Kaspar Korjus described the residency idea of it as well. But if you have heard about e-residency, it's good. If not, simply put, it's just a way to become a resident without actually have to be a citizen of a country. So everybody, each one of you, but every people from every other country in the world can become a e-resident of Estonia and also enjoy the benefits that it will bring. For example, you can start a company in Estonia and enjoy all the European Union free market and all the other benefits of a single market with that e-residency. E-governance is another topic that is quite hot in a sense of development. Estonia is pushed pretty much all the services to internet, so you don't have to leave your coziness of home for any service pretty much, except getting married, getting a divorce, or buying some property, because these are the things that you probably want to think twice and have someone standing next to you when you're making this sort of decisions. So, but these are probably the only 3 things that you need to have a lawyer's presence as well. All the other things you can get it done with your ID card or also with the e-residency card. Healthcare is another topic that is a lot of cooperation together with Finland as well. I think now we just signed a cooperation treaty with Finland that we share our medical data. So if a person goes to a doctor in Estonia who is a Finn, that person's medical data will be translated to, or the Estonian doctor would get it. So they would know what's going on. And of course, the e-identity and digital signature is something Estonians have become very used to. I don't remember putting a signature under a legal document because everything is done digitally. I hope you do it as well. If not, join Estonia e-residency. But moving on about the jobs and about the companies as well. I listed 5 top desired jobs here, which are software developers, IT system developers, production operators, the one who are doing operating or like developing systems so that the production plants can operate. So operating some big machinery, as well as IT technicians and IT managers. You probably have heard about Skype, but Estonia also hosts many large companies and their development divisions like Ericsson or Pipedrive or TransferWise, who is also doing or being quite a game changer in the field of international money transfer. Okay, I'm gonna go on. If you have any questions, I think we have just 1 or 2 minutes later on. About the practicalities, of course, the IT sector enjoys the benefit of having quite high salary level, and it's so also in Estonia. The average salary, 2,000 to 3,500, is I would say the medium, or like the medium, or like the average salary, like it says there. But of course, there are vacancies with higher need that are higher in the need, so of course the salaries can go up as well. Companies usually offer newcomers the relocation support, whether it would be something as simple as setting up a bank account, which is usually not that simple in another country, or finding a place to live. But also some language courses are available, and then weekly there are different social events for foreigners getting together, as well as and of course, being an employee with some of Estonia's IT companies, you become a part of developing the e-Estonia. I think the e-governance governance system is now being implemented in many other countries, and Estonia is usually the one who is the know-it-all in those kind of projects. Okay, so very briefly, this is our small IT sector. It's growing quite rapidly and having global grabs. So if you have any questions, you can ask them right now, but if not, then I will be just outside waiting for you at the Estonian box as well. So thank you for this.
Very interesting. You do really live in the future, yeah, related to Spain. Now, Helena Nielsen is going to make a presentation and some speech on the labor market in the same sector in Denmark. And later on, Tommy will take the word. Si tenéis alguna pregunta ahora mismo para el compañero de Estonia, la podéis hacer ahora. Si no, esperamos al final, cuando estén hechas todas las presentaciones, que quizá surjan más dudas y más intereses. DK Docs.
All of them? PDF. All of them?
Living and working. Take the living and working, please. Yeah.
You do have for
Thank you.
just a minute, because
Sure, no problem.
for Estonia.
Well, I see it very interesting about the e-residency, but probably it's much more interesting for people that is from countries outside the European Union, because most of us already have the advantages of being in the European Union. But so if you can have Estonian e-residents without actually being in Estonia physically, is it also a common thing to work for an Estonian company without being in Estonia at all? I mean, it's remote working going on seriously in Estonia, or is something that is only marginal thing?
Well, thank you. Companies do have their international units at some other destinations. And I think companies are quite used to having sort of people working as their representatives or doing work at some other locations other than their head corporation. But I think it depends a lot on the company and the work type, because if you have to be present either to discuss something with the team or to be on some specific location, then the traveling might not be the best way. But then again, if you're a consultant or of course there are jobs like this, and I would say that the Estonian companies are opened to the idea of having remote workers as well.
So now we give the floor to Helena Nielsen, who's going to tell us about the sector in Denmark. Thank you.
So, hello, everybody. Thank you for coming. I recognize some of you, so I believe some of you already talked to us on the Danish stand. You are, of course, mostly welcome to come to the stand of Denmark. We are 2-3 people there all the time, so you are mostly welcome to come and ask individual questions. Opportunities for engineers and IT people. Well, in Denmark, we can say that there is a demand within certain sectors. There is done official review twice a year, where our colleagues from Ministry of Labor are asking companies if they can fill the vacancies. And it's many recent years, all the time the same answers concerning engineers, IT specialists, people within life science and biotech and medical specialists. Some companies are struggling and claim that they can't fill the vacancy with qualified candidates. So that's why we exist, work in Denmark. We are organizations supporting the Danish employers, both private and public, big and small. And we talk to candidates like you in different European countries and tell them about the opportunities in Denmark, about the job vacancies, where to find them and how to apply. And there are a number of opportunities for engineers, number of opportunities for IT people. When it's said, I can only underline what my colleague from Estonia said. Most of countries in Europe are looking for the same type of candidates. So basically, if I should list it, you will see it on another side. It's similar kind of candidates we are looking for in Denmark. So there are possibilities. At the same time, it's also very important in Denmark to apply in the right way. So that's why we are sometimes boring at our stand and telling to the job seekers or people interested in working in Denmark that it's very important to present your qualifications, your competencies in the right way, so that the Danish companies understand that this person, even though coming from sunny Spain, is really interested in job in rainy Denmark. So being a mechanical or automation engineer or software developer in itself is a very positive thing, but it requires certain effort to apply in the right way for the job. It's the features I talked about, engineers, IT specialists, of course, highly educated people in general. I basically would advise you to go to our website, workingdenmark.dk, and check the job opportunities there. If you are, for example, mechanical engineer and write mechanical engineer in the job search, you will get almost 100 job vacancies containing this qualification from specific companies. In Denmark, it's very common and it's normal to apply directly to the company. We are just a platform. We are bridging the connection between the company and the job seeker. So use the website. It's the best advice I can give you, because we are the biggest job bank for English written vacancies in Denmark for non-Danish speaking candidates. So companies of size like Siemens or Vestas or Danfoss, they are using the platform and posting the job vacancies on Work in Denmark, looking for engineers and IT specialists. So there are really plenty of jobs. It just requires time and patience to find the right job for you to apply for. Denmark is maybe, if I should say what characterizes Denmark and the jobs in Denmark, Denmark is a country where you have old family companies like Grundfos or Danfoss or Lego. Lego, you know, the toy. They are also looking for engineers and IT specialists. So it's not necessarily a typical engineering production company looking for engineers, and it's not necessarily typical IT company looking for IT specialists, because nowadays we can see the trend compared to 4 or 5 years ago, where the number of IT jobs was limited. It's growing, and afterwards IT people are needed in almost any kind of business. Of course, the most searched are again software developers, like my young colleague said, architects, people within cybersecurity are in growing demand, people within e-marketing. Every single company in Denmark has to ask itself, what is the future? Is it enough with the physical shops? No, it's not. Even a shop selling stuff for craftsmen are now online, so that the guy who is a plumber goes back to his van and can check on his smartphone how to order this small thing without going to a physical shop 50 kilometers away. So there is need for those people. And because this need is kind of growing and the number of people having these competencies is not growing as fast, it's why it's necessary very often to advertise in English and look for candidates with English written vacancies. Denmark is not specialized or characterized by a certain sector like some other countries. Denmark is a very various country. So you have, of course, big agriculture sector. You have, of course, energy sector, where you have both oil and gas, but growing green energy like Vestas or Siemens. So it's just not possible to say in one word what kind of job you will find. There are some of you, I already told that some companies, they have difficulties in attracting people in case they are placed outside the big city like Copenhagen and Aarhus. Because people, if they study at the Danish university, they maybe tend to stay in Copenhagen or in Aarhus or in Odense, but they are not willing to move back to a small city where not so much is happening. So these companies, even though they are big, very interesting and strong, they maybe have difficulties in attracting candidates. So it's very, I would say, complex thing. What makes the need for people? Maybe I should add that, because I'm always asked that question, how about the Danish language? Well, Danish is a small language spoken basically by 5 million people. So Danish companies, they understand that they can't demand Danish in certain positions. Very good level of English is needed. By good level of English, I mean speaking without big obstacles, understanding, being able of reading, writing textures, not perfect English, but decent English where you can just work in English. And Danish is a good language to learn. Once you get a contract in Denmark, it's very clever to start learning Danish, because Danish companies might not need you to speak Danish, but they will definitely be concerned about your well-being. How about after the working hours, if you go home and you need to have some, social contact with other people? So they would hope or expect that you begin to integrate and learn the Danish language, because even though it's common to speak Danish on different levels in Denmark, people tend to go back and speak Danish. So for working purposes, if you find job, for example, on work in Denmark, when it's towards international candidates, companies don't expect Danish, but they hope or expect that you begin to learn Danish later on in order to become a part of the company. So I could go on and on.
Yeah, sure.
But I think that Tony has to have his time
the
as
main
well.
message is that they would be able to check all the vacancies for English speakers on the national website,
Definitely.
workingdenmark.dk. You go there to check different with these keywords.
Exactly.
You can check by skills or whatever the availability of vacant positions in Denmark for English for foreigners, basically. Yeah.
Because I have to say that Denmark is very transparent concerning the job search. Of course, a lot of people get a job by network, like in any other country, but a lot of people, or maybe big part of people, get job by going directly to the company with application. And companies expect applications. They want to get several applicants in order to choose the ideal one for them. And they don't feel they can do it if they get 5 applications. They have to have a certain pool, and then they go through and then say, okay, the qualification is there, the person type is there. Then we talk to the guy, okay, he or she is fitting in our environment. So they need a pool of candidates. So it's very, very common to apply for a job. Okay. It's not only typical for international candidates. I would do that. Any other person from Denmark would apply in that way.
Okay, thank you very much
You're
for
welcome.
your advice. There's something we forgot to tell you before to Janice about if you could. What's the most usual website to apply for this engineering and IT jobs in Estonia? Do you have a central website where people can apply, or did you provide that in your presentation?
There was a picture of or a logo of it, but it's also workinestonia.com.
All right,
so
you can note this down, because that's the right place for you to. All this information will be on the platform. But anyway, it's interesting to have this information right now. There's a central website where you can get all these job offers for foreigners in Estonia. Workinestonia.com.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. So now we are finishing off with, last but not least, our friend Toni Puranen from Finland.
Thank you. It was only like a couple of years ago, actually, we had a situation that we had a surplus of engineers in many fields, and IC specialists also. We had a surplus, and that's why, for instance, these 2 countries have been quite often during the last few years in Finland recruiting IT specialists. Also, Sweden and Germany, for instance, and Netherlands have been very active towards Finland, and many Finnish people went actually to work abroad in ICT sector. But that was because our economy has had really difficult years for several years after 2008. So our economy was not doing well, and we are very export-oriented country, a small country, but very dependent on the export of the high-tech products. So the companies didn't do so well, and there was not so much export and activity, so they didn't need those specialists so much. But the situation has changed quite rapidly nowadays, so that our economy is growing quite fast at the moment, and now the companies are doing much better, and they have more and more export. And now there are many companies actually that have a shortage of engineers. And also many companies have shortage of IT specialists. Not IT specialists in general, we have still unemployed IT specialists, many thousands, but they have a lower education and they are not the right type of IT specialists for the demand of the companies nowadays. We have a shortage already of quite many shortages in the software developers, programmers, let's say JavaScript and C++ experts and so on. And this shortage is growing all the time. Then we have a lot of very good game companies. So game industry is rather big, even with a small country. So game developers are needed. So many companies, even they're quite small, many of them. But this is the IT sector that now we can say that we have already shortages in many regions, and many companies are really looking for the same kind of workers that Denmark and Estonia are looking for. About engineers, so we have certain sectors. For instance, in my region, which is Southwest Finland and Turku region, we have a couple of employers that are very big international companies like Meyer Finland. Meyer is a very big family-owned company, a German company, and they bought a company in Turku, a shipyard, and now they have begun to be more and more successful because of the German ownership. And now the order book is full until 2025, at least I think. So they are building one of the world's biggest cruise ships for several shipping companies. And they are in need of engineers, different kind of engineers like mechanical engineers, automation, piping engineers, etc. And it's not only the Meyer Finland, but it's maybe more the subcontracting companies that are working for this shipyard that are looking for engineers and foreign workforce. Then we have also the only automotive industry is in our region. It's called Valmet Automotive, and that is a really big successful story because they are now every month they are recruiting 100 new workers. So now I think they have over 3,000 workers at the moment because they are building two types of Mercedes cars, and the Mercedes is doing very well, and the cars are sold very well. So they have increased the production in this industry in Uusikaupunki, city of Uusikaupunki, which is about 90 kilometers from Turku. Jose Luis knows Turku. Most of you maybe not know, but it's a city about 178,000 people. It's the oldest city in Turku and has several universities, Swedish and Finnish-speaking university, and different kind of polytechnic, Swedish and Finnish-speaking. It's about 40,000 university students, so it's a very international city. At the same time, there are many foreigners moving from other parts of Finland to Helsinki and of course also to Turku. So this Valmet Automotive is looking for these car building engineers also. Of course also car builders are needed, in desperate need of normal, how to say, car builders, but also engineers. Then if you think about the bigger employers that are looking for engineers, it's not our region, but it is in northern part of Finland near the Oulu, city of Oulu nearby. There is a kind of a Hanhikivi nuclear power station which is going to be built. It's a very huge, big project, and they are looking for a lot of different kind of engineers for this nuclear power station. Yes, energy engineers, automation engineers, mechanical engineers, all these type of engineers are needed nowadays in Finland. About the website where most of the jobs in Finland are coming to, it is called te-services.fi. That's the website is where the most of the jobs in Finland are coming. And it's possible to find those job offers in English so that you write as like a keyword English and you will get a list of the job offers. And it is so that most of the job offers are especially in this IT and engineering sectors. and you can see what kind of job offers there are. You can directly contact the employer and send applications. It's always worthwhile to contact companies even though they don't have any job offers, because they're very used to these companies. They really like to get CVs and people applying to them.
Could you please repeat the
Yeah, it is
address of this?
like T and E, TE, and then dash,
Okay.
and services.fi. But if some of you are interested about working in Finland, please come to our EURES Finland stand. I can give you more information, and we have a lot of brochures and good information there to be given to you.
Okay, great. That's another way. Go to the stand and in outside and talk to Tommy or his colleagues in there about the resources for searching for a job in Finland. Well, I think now we open the turn for questions. If any one of you want to ask a question or several questions to my colleagues, this is a good opportunity for it. So just raise your hand, and I'll go there with the micro. No?
Thank you. I would like to know if there are some kind of similarity between Nordic languages.
Nordic languages.
Yes. I mean, learning Norwegian is possible to speak quickly Finnish or
Not Finnish. It's something for
Yeah,
itself.
I can tell about Finnish language. It's rather different than the other Nordic, Scandinavian languages. So that's a totally own language group. I would say Estonian language and Finnish language, they are the nearest to each other. So it's of course not very easy to language to learn, but at the same time we have job seekers. For instance, at our employment office, we have I think more than 100 countries, and every one of them have learned Finnish, but it can take a little bit time.
But the Swedish and Danish and Norwegian, they are quite similar.
Yeah.
Norwegian and Danish are very similar in writing. The pronunciation is different. And I would say for me to listen to, I speak Danish, and to listen to a Norwegian person or Swedish person, I have to really take care. But if you take my colleague who is living in Copenhagen and having a lot of contact with Swedish people, she would have no problem at all. So it depends, kind of training, because probably as a Spanish-speaking person, I don't know how Portuguese or French
Portuguese
are
is very
similar.
close.
You can compare it to that.
O sea que tendríamos dos familias, una que es la finesa, que está relacionada con el estonio, y otra que es la de las lenguas escandinavas, que son el noruego, el sueco y el danés, y un porcentaje de la lengua, por lo que yo he oído a compañeros, entienden un 50 o un 60% de lo que hablan los otros, con lo cual un cambio de país sería bastante factible en función. Ahora, de Finlandia o de Estonia a Noruega, Suecia o Dinamarca, nos metemos en un mundo totalmente diferente. Es otra familia de lenguas. ¿Algo más? Bueno, pues damos por... We can close the session. Thank you very much.